into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Legend of Korra After Show, and joining us again this week, Miss Liz Rishmawi!
Yeah, I'm back, guys, what's up?
And seated next to her is, of course, the very adjective is totally eluding me, Tori Miller.
Yeah, superlative!
And guys, I'm John Quick, and what an episode we have this week. So much, like after last week, we're in an episode that's in a series that's called Legend of Korra, where we get almost no Korra. This week, it's nothing but Korra in the very aptly titled Korra Alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking a little bit before, we actually came on air. Like this is an obvious reference to the fantastic episode from The Last Airbender, Zuko Alone.
Yes.
And I don't the first time I saw the episode. As I watched it twice, the first time I was like, I don't know why they're calling this Korra Alone. I mean, Zuko Alone is such this seminal episode. Why would you want to have comparisons to be brought to it? And then I watched it again. I kept seeing more of the parallels, and I was just like, oh, I'm totally on board with this.
Yeah, I mean, well, just in general, from a sense of taking the title of both episodes, they're very different characters who had totally different wants and needs and desires. However, Zuko felt that he could only achieve what he wanted, which was to get the Avatar at any expense necessary and firmly focus on that, but he can only do it by himself. And it's the same thing with Korra, in the sense where all she wants to do is get better and become the best Avatar she can be, but all these people that have been trying to help her, they just can't help her. So now the only way to go about doing anything is just to be on her own. So again, two very different characters, very different goals at the time, but very stubborn in their own sense and want that drive, no one can help me. I need to do this on my own. I need to find myself. I need to be the very best.
No one ever was, apparently.
To catch, with Zuko, it's to catch the Avatar.
And I guess with Korra, it's to catch Rava.
Yes.
Who is a little bit more Pokemon-like.
Definitely.
Yes.
Light beam attack.
And I mean, if you were just to expand upon that, it's seeing them from both angles. It's like the guy who wanted to kill the Avatar, and the Avatar being here because someone tried to kill her.
Yeah.
And I think there was also the running theme of identity, because even though Zuko still wanted to catch the Avatar, this wasn't too long after him and Iroh had cut their top knots.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. And I mean, I wish we saw her throwing the band in the water. We didn't see what she did with the hair, but I wish we saw that, she just threw the hair in the water.
That would have been great to see. That was that was a great callback moment, because of course just that cutting of the hair, losing your old identity and kind of moving on, which is again both Zuko and Korra in this episode are dealing with that their old identities are gone and probably never coming back. Mm-hmm. But with Zuko, it's his family ties. With Korra, it's not even just her identity as the Avatar. I think that there's something more. It's her, I guess, her defining characteristic as a character. Korra has always been the best bender, hands down, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And that has been taken from her both physically and psychologically.
Yeah, and it's even in the scene, I mean, this is skipping ahead a little bit in the episode, but when she's so excited, I'm better, and she has that fight with the firebenders and has a flashback that causes her to mess up. It reminded me of way back on the first episode when she was taking the test to prove to them she was ready to go to Republic City, when she was boom, 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 fire was one of her best elements to deal with, which is very opposite of what Aang had problems with.
They mirrored that exact shot of when we saw Korra as a teenager for the first time, her coming through the fire, her triumphant reveal through fire. Mm-hmm. They were doing that, but as opposed to her, of course, going on and being victorious, it was her getting destroyed. But that's skipping way far ahead. We need to, we'll go back. So we ended last episode with Korra walking away after, just getting owned in an earthbending fight, which that speaks a lot. Of course, now we see later in this episode what was really going on in her head.
Yeah,
but
we also see it's more of a flashback into play from what happened before she goes into that fight.
Yeah, right.
And I think, I love this episode so much. I'm sorry. It's just, first of all, I was so excited in general because we didn't even have to wait that long between season 3 and season 4. And we're getting all this juiciness of the development of what's going on with her, what happened in these last 3 years. And we find out in the episode with Katara, she actually took a really long time before she actually got to even walk again. I think there was a part where she mentioned it's been 2 years.
Well, yeah.
It was 6 months before I think she was actually really walking again.
Yeah. So I didn't know, this episode was really cool to see how long it actually took her to even get to that point. Mm-hmm. You would think maybe after 6 months or so, then she was walking and then it was just a matter of everything else. But that was what she really had to overcome, which was really oh my God.
Right. And when we get there.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Well, so our first shot of this episode is Korra standing in front of a cracked mirror, which, metaphor, everybody. This is your introduction.
Yeah.
And so we see her heal herself, and then there's just a man who's having a potty emergency just outside the door. It's can you get out of there? I really need to get in.
And she was about to heal her eye, I think.
I hope so.
Well, because you saw the water glow, and she didn't get a chance to. So.
Yeah.
Right.
She got her elbow. That's
good.
It's the most important part.
Yeah, nobody wants a scraped elbow. Those just stink.
Seriously. Everybody's going to notice that first before your face.
Yeah, no, totally.
It helps with her disguise.
I was just about to say, maybe it's just because it just helps that she doesn't look like herself. So.
And she walks out into the middle of the street, almost gets run over by a car, and then big reveal, this recurring character that we're going to see through the episode. Some people online are calling her Nega Korra. I was calling her Murder Korra because it's what she looked like when she went murder rage on Zahir.
Or just Dark Korra, because she reminded me of the Dark Link from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, and she functioned in the same way. Anytime a character has has to face a dark side version of themselves, it's kind of what they look like.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's heading on. So we see her and Dark Korra, and they get into a very brief fight, and then it's made obvious as Korra is launching fire, and then all of a sudden the people are gathering around. They're just
Are you okay?
It's you're just shooting fire into the air. Do you need a hospital?
I was more surprised that nobody noticed. Okay, here's this person wearing earth clothing that, if anything, for the most part, you would think that person would be an earthbender. And if any of those people had just recently saw her in the fight, maybe not one person mentioned wait, was she just bending multiple elements just now? No one called on it, but I guess it's not important for that particular situation.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, she's not a big deal anymore. So even if they did recognize her, they'd just be oh, it's
that's where you've
Korra.
been. Yeah.
I guess it's that. Well, I guess they would be, but it's at this moment after she just decides to run away, we get now the flashback to her actually leaving, Air Temple Island and then going on to the Southern Water Tribe to
recuperate.
Heal. And it's, great little team Avatar moments. There's Asami, being the BFF that she is.
Yeah, I love Bolin.
Yeah.
It's I was I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I can't wait for you to leave.
I've never had a pen pal before. In fact, you know what? Here, and he just already has a letter written. And me and Pau already miss you. So great, so great.
I miss Pabu was missing from last episode, but never mind. I'm sure we're going to get more adorable Pabu moments going in the future. But so
Kuvira ate him.
Yes, maybe. Holy crap! Thanks for putting that thought in my mind,
You're
Tori.
welcome. That's what I'm here for.
But we jump to she's in the South Pole. Apparently, been there for about 3 weeks, as we'll find out later when she has a conversation with her mother, but she's having nightmares about her fight with Zahir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affecting her. She can't sleep. She's not eating very well.
Yeah. She has genuine PTSD.
Yeah, and her mother's like, will you please see Katara?
Yeah, she's been there for when she left Air Temple Island, she said, oh, I'm only going to be there for a couple of weeks. And then her mom's like, it's been 3 weeks. Like, she's been home for 3 weeks. And I know that she's unpacking a lot, but they're like, of course, like, as I think Tori said, you hit a nail right on the head. She has, like, PTSD. She can't.
And not to mention the fact, not even PTSD aside, they didn't know if she was actually ever going to recuperate or be able to walk or anything again. So that's like, I mean, the depression that people face just losing their ability to walk, something like that kind of devastation. She's dealing with so many elements aside from the PTSD. She's dealing with so many elements.
At least 4 of them. Mental health jokes. Let's continue.
Everybody tweet me how amazing that was. But yeah, so I think there's just so much as a character, and you look at them as like real people almost, because we've learned to love these people, and you can really relate with her on this level of how it's just depressing. I mean, and everybody's, like she mentions, is everybody's starting, they're going to be able to help the world, and she can't do anything.
Yeah, that's one of, like, that's her core one of her core conflicts. Not only is just
Korra conflict. Right, I'm sorry, guys. There's gonna be so much shtick.
You know what? Somebody keep a pun counter. I mean, if we get up to 10, I think we should all get like ice cream or something.
We should just steal Stephen Lemieux and Matt Lieberman's Sleepy Hollow pun jar thing from. Yeah, Stephen, you there?
No.
That's not Stephen.
No, he doesn't. All right, no, never mind. He's there.
It's just like, I'm not going to partake in this.
But yeah, so then she sees Katara, which loved seeing Katara again for like the first time in forever.
Yeah.
And also to see like Katara like really back to form, like Katara doing what Katara always really does, which is
I missed her hair loopies.
Which is heal and help people. And we see her in there, and Korra is like asking her, can't you just heal me? Like, obviously Korra was like going in there with the hope that water bending, the healing techniques of water bending was just going to completely recuperate her body, but is like Korra said, like, there's a number of things going on. Like,
Katara said.
Katara, yeah, sorry.
She said that there is the poisons in such a number, and she says, I can help open the flowways for you to heal, but it's really a matter of you. You need to believe in it. And then the little techniques that she goes about, just visualize, like with moving her toe.
Yeah.
Like,
wiggle your big toe.
Yeah, and it's really, really cool. And the fact that I think Katara is aside from the fact she's a waterbending master and has these healing capabilities, I mean, who better than to confide in somebody who can relate to you, because she was married to your former self.
That's weird.
Well,
creepy.
Well, she does bring that up later, so I mean,
yes.
Which is all right. Well, just like kind of moving on, we do see like her wiggle her big toe, and that's like the first like sign. But again, like
it gives her hope.
It gives her hope. But this is Korra we're talking about. Korra is not one for taking her time. She's all about immediate results and immediate. It's part of who she is. Mm-hmm.
Even over the seasons where we've made comments about how she has greatly developed as a character in the sense where she is more patient and all this other stuff. She's definitely like you said, it's just like everybody else is already helping. The Earth Kingdom is in shambles. I need to help now. I need to get better now. And she just kind of like lets off on Katara.
Right.
Which, well, I mean, we see why she can't, like, immediately after wiggling her big toe, which, Kill Bill moment there. That,
yeah.
I know that's an actual, I think, physical therapy thing that they start
yes.
with, but all I can think about is Kill Bill in every one of those moments.
I actually never saw Kill Bill. I know, I'm weird. There's like some serious major like hit movies that I should have seen but have not yet, so everybody can yell at me later. But
well, this is a spoiler. She wiggles her big toe.
Oh my god, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now that everybody has now rage quit on us, but continuing on after that, so Katara is just like, all right, now take your first step, like visualize, and Korra can't do it, and then we see her in that scene where after she can't get that first step, she just wants to give up. And Katara is talking with her, and now we see it's been like almost 6 months later, and Korra goes off on Katara. It's just like, you can't heal me. Nobody, like, you can't even heal me, and you're supposed to be a waterbending master. Like, just like really, digging into her. And I mean, she does apologize, but it's again, I think in part of it is that again, it's part of that. Korra's identity has always been she's a physical person. That's how she defines herself, and that, you know, not only was it taken from her, she can't get it back, or is losing hope in getting it back because she can't even take a step.
Yeah, and that's the scene where Katara, you know, says, "Look, you know, like, you're not the only Avatar to go through such struggle and loss. Like, you know, look at what happened to Aang. Can you imagine waking up and your entire culture is dead? They're gone, your people." And I mean, it gives her some sort of perspective in the fact that, well, if he can go through that, you know, I can do this. And I think that's the scene where she says, visualize going to Naga.
Naga, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was sweet. Naga's like, yay, he made it.
There was such a great moment. And did you also guys, that like kind of different like building version of the actual main theme was playing like as she's working up. That was a great job to the sound department on putting that one. So thank you guys.
Yeah. I think I don't want to skip ahead too much, but there is a pause in the scene because I know that there's branches in time when we see her first walk, and then I think we see her with all the letters she's getting from everybody.
Yeah.
And another scene right after that.
Yeah, it's that again does happen like right in the middle. It's like where she's reading, of course, like and that
Bolan's letters.
So well written.
The elaboration of the English and proper grammar and just
but with the crayon drawing. Lest we forget the crayon
beautiful.
drawing.
It's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, I think that did like we do need to because that was what motivated her, like, unleashing on Katara, was finding out, like, what all of her
everybody else is doing something positive to help out with the Earth Kingdom is in shambles. The world needs balance. You know, I think Asami, she's doing this thing to help basically, you know, what we saw in the first episode with how everything
building the train system.
And how everything's working around with the plants and everything in Republic City. And, you know, everybody's doing something, and Korra just feels like very ostracized. And there's a scene, I think that what I'm thinking of directly after when we saw her walking was when she hasn't been writing back to any of them. She only wrote back to Asami because she feels that she's the only person that would really get it, that what she's going through right now.
Which, you know, another point for shipping Korrasami. Anybody out there, you can, I guess, put another tally in that line.
Yes, I'm all for it.
Yeah. But and then after that we cut back to Korra is like back in Republic City, you know, walking this like back alley, and she runs in and she sees something in the corner of her eye, and she's thinking, oh my god,
she's in Republic City. I don't think we know where she is really.
She's in Republic City. This is her like wearing her earthbending green. This is after she was in the earthbending thing. She's in Republic City, I do believe.
Okay. I don't think they.
I don't think she ever made it to.
She never made it to there.
She never made it.
She's avoiding it.
She went
purpose.
back to where she met the earthbender who made the sushi. It was still in that area.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why everybody else is wearing green around her too. Republic City's just like a mixture of like a lot of grays and stuff too.
I guess that's true. I for some reason was thinking that she was in Republic City.
Yeah, no, she's not there yet. But yeah, she's walking back in the alleyway, and then adorable puppy.
It is one of the sweetest looking puppies I've ever seen. It just looks so pettable, and then all of a sudden, Dark Side Korra.
It looks like a mini
toy poodle.
What, like a toy?
No. Like with the flying bison, Appa. It looks like that, but without the horns and stuff. It's just like a mini fluffy. It's so cute.
I guess I can see that. It does kind of look like a little sky bison.
Can you picture if that was like your dog? You could put like little costume things on it, like because it's Halloween now. And just make a little Appa dog for the Halloween costume. So cute. Anyhow, has like an extra leg sticking out, like a little saddle. Yeah.
And well, then this moment is like really big because this like Korra is now seeing Darkside Korra, and like the entire time we think that this is like Darkside Korra is just in her head, but then the dog turns
sees Darkside Korra.
Yeah.
Darth Vader Korra.
Shadow Korra.
And and
we should have a million different names for it.
And then she says, I guess you want me to follow you. And then I think we go back to the flashback again into her journeying when she was going to go to Republic City.
Yes.
But then...
Well, first thing first, Tenzin shows up to check her progress. And this has been 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Korra's immediate thing is wants to show him how ready she is to get back.
Look how ready I am. I'm good.
And then that's when we have the fight with the 3 firebending masters, almost mirroring what we saw from the very first episode of Legend of Korra, but the results are different. As soon as, she thinks...
PTSD flashback.
Like to Zahir attacking her, which messes her up. And of course she's frustrated and she's talking with Tenzin, and Tenzin's trying to do his, traditional Tenzin wisdom moment.
Yeah.
And she says, "I swear, if you tell me to be patient,
I will water slap you."
And then he was just like, "Well, I just think you need to."
He basically uses every definition of the word patience without actually saying patience, which was really funny. Yeah, and then I like that we get that scene where, she wants to go back. She says she's ready, and they said, "Oh, okay," and she said, "I think I should go alone." I like it because I thought from the very get-go her plan was to leave and not go straight to Republic City. Mm-hmm. But when we see she goes on this boat, skipping over a very funny part that I want to touch on, but we see that was not her original intention, was not originally to never arrive. She was going to go, but then that's when she decided, when she saw the city in view, no, I'm not ready for this.
She saw the city
and Shadow Korra.
Yeah. The water village with the guy and the picture with Aang.
Yeah.
Such a good throwback.
The wall of avatars.
The wall of avatars, but the picture of Aang as a full-grown adult with facial hair doing the same trick with the air balls, with the same smile that we saw when he was 11 years old with a katara, trying to be like, "Look what I can do."
With the sushi rolls, yeah.
So it made me so happy.
But we're also right before that, we get a great piece of information. Korra still can't enter the Avatar state.
Yes.
She's locked out of the Avatar state.
Yeah.
And
which is what she tells Asami in the letter.
Mm-hmm. And and then comboed with as you've seen, when she gets to this island, before she even gets to Republic City, the guy adds her to his wall of avatars, and then all of a sudden there are thieves, muggers that just take off, and then the guy's like, "Don't worry, the Avatar's here. He'll totally help you." And she's like, I don't. And it's like, "No, what are you waiting for? Go for it."
Yeah, they're just two, thieves.
Yeah.
And then she does, and she goes in, and then it's, again, so sad, and I can feel the bloater ego. Just two random, lowlives stealing from this old woman, and she's like, "I'm going to stop you." And all they do is one little attack with, both the sand kicks up in her face when they're earthbending at her, and she gets knocked flat on her back and doesn't even get up right away after they run off. And the woman saying, "Are you sure that's the Avatar?" And just I felt it. I'm not the Avatar, but I felt the wound and the pain of just I couldn't even. I've saved the world several times, and I couldn't take on these two guys. This is how low I've become.
It's I just fought the embodiment of malice and evil as a giant, and I can't handle just two randos.
Yeah,
right.
Randos. It's great. Yes.
But just to add some levity to this moment, did you guys notice how that the sushi chef talked about basically Kyoshi fighting Sharktopus?
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
That's
my kind of woman.
There needs to be a drawing of that. If there is not one, I really hope that somebody is working on it right now.
To the internet.
Tweet a Sharktopus.
Yes. Kyoshi versus Sharktopus with one arm.
Cthulhu had a baby with jaws, and that's what you got. But yeah, so I guess that's when we show her going again, sailing back to Republic City, and then we see that she's with all that said and done, everything that has come to pass, and even that little scene on the island where she couldn't even take those two guys on, she's like, "No, I can't do this." Yeah. And we see this great journey that she goes on with a whole. And I like how there's this voiceover part of a letter to her mother where they think she's in Republic City, and she's like, "I'm just taking it easy." But we see she's obviously kind of been around the world.
Well,
I think
we see her basically when she turns back around, she goes straight to the spirit portal. She enters the spirit world.
Well, first she does the whole thing with changing her appearance and everything.
Oh, okay. We cannot skip over that moment, please.
Skip that moment. Such a good moment. She looks down to the water. She's seeing her reflection, also very metaphorical. Her, who am I? Throwing down the bands into the water stream, and then knowing that she needs to vanish for a while to find herself, and then the moment where she cuts off her hair, which I'm so jealous because that was so a Mulan moment. I'm like, there is no way you're gonna take it in a bunch and cut it off, and you have a perfect little graduated bob cut. It's not fair.
A-line bob is
A-line bob. Yes, it's anyway. But we have that transformation moment.
I take it you're talking from experience on this one?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like, you can't do that. Like, Mulan did it too. Everybody watched Disney's Mulan. She cuts her hair. It's like, oh, look, it's so perfect and trimmed, and there's no, like, weird dead-end phrase or uneven... Anyway, animation. Yeah, so she goes on the journey. I think you were going to say did she go to the Arctic first? Back to the spirit?
She goes into the spirit world before she goes on her world tour.
Meditate.
To go to the Tree of Time because she's trying really hard
to look for Rava.
And as she enters in the tree, she's trying to meditate. Those like little spirits come up, and they're just like, "Are you sure that's the Avatar? I thought she had pigtails, and I can't sense any of Rava's energy around her."
Yeah, and then she's just like frustrated and like, "Shut up! Like, I'm trying to meditate here, and I just cut my hair. Like,
and I'm
whatever.
wearing different clothes. Yes, I'm the Avatar."
Yeah. But the little guy, what was his? Did we get a name for him?
We didn't get a name for him.
But he's like a little guy. But he, just the way he even goes on his lap, like, we can help you. And she just gently places him down. I would have hugged him. And says, like, no, everybody's been trying to help me and no one can. So I don't think you can either. I have to do this by myself.
Right.
And then she goes off because for whatever period of time she was in that tree, obviously she wasn't getting anywhere. And then that's when we see the little flashback of her going through. You see the volcano and she's walking through the fire and all these things, and she's the letter voiceover to her mother, talking about how she's fine, but she's actually on this like huge journey. And
so she walks through all the George Lucas sets.
Yes.
But the entire time she's seeing like Shadow Korra
everywhere, stalking her, which I can only imagine how that's grating on her nerves. Like, it's like she thinks she's going crazy. Then we see how she wound up at that Earth fight, kind of bringing us back to local time.
But then there was that one moment in the desert where she, instead of seeing Shadow Korra, she sees Rava.
That might have just been a mirage, though. I mean, it is the desert.
That's true, but I'm like wondering, like, cause the whole time she'd been seeing Shadow Korra, but for some odd reason in the desert she saw Rava.
Yeah.
Like what does that speak? I don't know what that speaks to.
Yeah, like I said, it could be a mixture of just her desperation and exhaustion. And again, she was in the desert. They do see a lot of mirages and stuff there, so it could have just been like, oh my God, there's like a Pepsi machine, and then like, oh, it's RC Cola, walk away. Yeah. But yeah, and then we see it took her to the earthbending match, and that's where we kind of leave off, where we're now back on local time now, where all the flashbacks are done and we're caught up now, and how she wound up there. And then back to little doggy.
Yeah.
So he leads her out of that town and into the swamp, the Great Swamp. Yeah.
I was so excited. And it didn't, what's so funny? Did you guys happen to like even think about the swamp at all during this whole thing?
I have never I haven't thought about the swamp really since Last Airbender.
It makes so much sense. I guess because we've been so focused with this new series, how like now the spirits are everywhere. And I mean, she went into the freaking spirit world, still couldn't connect herself. But like when we remember back from old Avatar, swamp was one of those most mysterious, magical, spirited, in tuned places that like always, what was it? And when you go into the swamp, you will always find something, or it will reveal something about yourself. So I was so excited when she got to the swamp. I didn't know what was going to happen. Did you guys get that whole like, oh my God, swamp, maybe she'll find Rava? I don't know.
I was just excited because maybe we would see some swamp benders. Those were my favorite characters.
I immediately thought of this whole spirit connection thing with getting some sort of answer in the swamp. That's why I was excited.
Yeah.
I thought Dagobah. Like, to be honest.
Yes. And it definitely has that kind of parallel because she skipping ahead, she meets her sage kind of character.
Yeah.
Which is very important. But first, we have, we
realize what the dog is.
We realize that the dog is the little, like, leaf spirit.
Yeah, so cute. And then just the way he said, she's like, why did you lie to me? He's like, would you have followed me if I did? And she's like, touche.
And then she says, well, why? It's like, what am I supposed to find here? And he goes, it's not what, it's who. And then he flies off, and then she chases after him, but then runs into Shadow Korra.
Which is way more aggressive than we've seen through this entire episode of fighting her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that character, it's so freaking cool. Like, I really hope to see some really good cosplay of just Dark Shadow, Avatar Korra with the chain. So awesome.
Pretty sweet.
The chain and the air, and like the air bending that amounts to like super speed, like the flash step.
Disheveled hair and but like that whole scene and just the way, interesting too, how she's like, I know you're in my head, you're not real. But then, boom, she's actually getting attacked, and it's knocking her on her butt, you know, as she's trying to run away at this point, because she doesn't even, I don't even think she really puts up that much of a fight. She's just trying to escape at that point.
Well, I think she already tried to fight this thing, and
in the
she
alley.
was in the alley and in the ring, and she was outmatched.
Right.
And then there's
in the ring, it was an actual person.
Yeah.
But she was seeing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But this person, there's obviously no one else in the swamp at this point. That's just the very, very strong mental, you know, thing that it actually has a physical pull on her leg while she's getting off into the tree. And all of a sudden, the ground, what was that like? It wasn't sand. It was like this metal
mercury.
liquid.
It was the poison.
It was the mercury. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Well, the entire time I was always trying to figure out, like, what exactly is this supposed to be? And, like, of course, it's, like, not only is it, like, Korra's like old identity, but it's like the sum total of all of her fears,
right?
Yeah.
Everything,
and I'm almost surprised it's her dark shadow figure as opposed to like a dark version of Zahir, because that's the one that's like really her fear. It's like it must mean something about her running away from herself and something she's not facing.
Yeah, I had assumed that it was the embodiment of her avatar state trying to get back in contact with her. Because at some point...
but then, like, why is it attacking her?
Well, it didn't start attacking her until she started attacking it. Like, before, it was just kind of more passive showing up. And then when she was like, that's enough, I'm going to take it on, then it started kind of lashing back out at her.
But even at this point, when she's in the swamp, she just says, like, I'm sick of this, like, leave me alone, but I know you can't hurt me, and it attacks her first. So, I mean, if there was really some deeper connection, like, hug me and we'll entwine and become one again, like, I don't think...
This isn't Naruto.
Yeah.
I know there's something. It could just be like we all have like inner demons that like they sometimes get manifested. Well, being the avatar, being attuned with the spirit world, this could be like, you know, this could be a spirit of her own creation, which because she's the avatar becomes a true spirit.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting because of all the avatars in history that we've heard of or seen stories of, even with Aang, she is the only avatar who has had the type of struggle she has dealt with. She has lost her connection with any of the other reincarnations. She cannot go meditate and speak with any of them. That has been completely severed forever. Now she can't even get in tune with Rava, which is the connection into entering her avatar state. She's the only avatar who has ever had these difficulties, and we know for a fact that she'll never be able to get in touch with her former selves. So it's just really interesting. Her character as a whole, I mean, we don't know every single story of every avatar before Aang, but she's the one who seems to be facing the worst crap. And at such a young age, too, still. I mean, it's like, God, you're not even like, what, she's like 18 at this point now? She's 18, 19?
I think she started out, I think she might be almost like 20, something like that.
She was, wasn't she like 15 when the series started?
Like 15 or 16.
15 or 16. She's got to be at least 19, 20 at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
and that's what I was saying. Like, I was telling someone this weekend about... That's why I love Korra.
Yeah.
In that, like, she actually faces all of her issues, and she faces more mature internal struggles. Like with Aang, it was always he was traditional shonen protagonist.
Yes.
Well, he was the reluctant hero.
He was
right.
And then the sense and being so young, but all of his fights for the most part were external, and it wasn't him trying to find inner demons. It was just trying to because he didn't get a chance to have his full training as an avatar. He wasn't trained at all as an avatar. As soon as he found out he left. So all of his training as an avatar was during the series that we watched with him with the adventures with everybody. Korra, we started off when she was already trained as an avatar, and then only part we were in for was her trying to learn how to airbend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, we found out when the series was coming out, this was going to be more geared toward the older audiences that were with Aang in this sense. So we kind of connect and internalize what does this mean, you know?
And desperately reaching for a segue, speaking of connected with Aang, so after she is defeated and dragged down into the mercury, which she wakes up in this cave in one of the trees, and then we just see there's this figure that's just,
did you know who it was right away?
I guessed.
I did. I knew right away. I knew.
They spoiled it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see the trailer, so
Good for you.
That's probably for the best because, of course, turns around and it's Toph.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like not watching as much as I really want to know what happens next episode. Like, it makes it more fun when we do our AfterBuzz predictions here. Yeah, and I love the way the line left off with, like, it's good to see you, Twinkle Toes. And I was like, oh, it's a good mentality.
So it does make me kind of want, like, I was reading a review of the episode, and it was saying that this might be somebody who can actually help Korra heal, because like Katara, does patience and positive reinforcements. So as we've seen, Toph believes in tough love, and I think that's what Korra
love.
Tough.
That's 3 or 4, I think, so far. No, and I agree too. And I think, in a sense, because they're in the swamp, it's gonna. I mean, should we just go into predictions?
I think we got to.
All right. Predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yeah. So, like, based on what you were saying, she needs some tough love, but also Toph is missing her senses, one of her, the sight. So she has this in-tune connection to a lot of things. And I would think that it's surprising that Katara could only help so far, but now Toph has to kind of help her maybe block out some of the PTSD. That's really the only thing that's in her way with finding out through her other senses and stuff. And I think the fact, if it was just Toph somewhere, I'd be like, I don't know how she's going to help. But because it's Toph and they're in the swamp, which we know from last series, that is a very spiritually mysterious place, everything's going to come into play, and it's going to be just really cool to see what Toph can do for her. And I want to know where the hell Toph's been. Like, what have you been up to?
Yeah, she's been lost, right?
Yeah, not lost. She knows where she is, but I mean, like, no one knows.
To everyone else, yes.
Yeah. Going back to our Star Wars metaphor, at least the one that I keep on harping on, like this, we're definitely right in the middle of Empire Strikes Back. Like this is her like deep training where she has to really master,
use the Force.
Yeah, master the spiritual side, which is something that Korra has never really done. Is mastered that spiritual side to being the Avatar, and I think that we're going to see at least in one episode is going to be heavily her and Toph in the swamp, and then it's just going to be cutting back to the other people. I think there's going to be a fallout with Kuvira and Bolin and Mako.
Oh, no, I can hear that. Do you guys think that she's going to go back to Republic City by the end of next episode, or do you think we're going to have to wait at least another episode for that?
I think at least another episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit of time for her and Toph to kind of get to a good place.
Unless if next episode is completely focused around only Toph and Korra, then yes, I can see at the very end she's going to Republic City. But they're going to split it and do like a little bit of like the Mako and everything like that, Bolin and all those characters. Then I think it'll be a couple episods at least.
Well, I think the next episode is titled the Coronation, or it has something to do with
the Earth King.
The Prince Wu.
It's definitely Zuko. God, what's wrong with me? Not Zuko. Mako. These names are very similar.
They're both firebenders.
No, but there was like a Ko, and then there's a K or Tara.
All right, but I think that wraps us up for the week. Thank you for joining us. And where can they find you, Miss Liz?
Hey guys, Liz Rishmawy here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Maui. That's LIZZYMAWY. Also check me out on the episodes of Sword Art Online Recap with my buddy Tari here. And on Mondays, I am also occasionally doing Doctor Who. So catch me then.
Sweet. And you can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TauriJay. You can also find me on the Flash panel on Tuesdays, the Doctor Who Classics on Wednesdays, and, as she said, the Sword Art Online on Sundays.
Wednesday, Sunday.
Yep.
And I'm John Quick. You can find me on Twitter at @NowQuick, and also on the Attack on Titan panel. And, please, reach out to us, via
iTunes, guys.
iTunes, 5 stars. Give us a review.
Please.
Comment on YouTube. We love hearing from you guys, and thanks so much for your comments, and I will see you guys next week.
See ya.
Peace out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.